That's wild. That's really funny. Alright, welcome everyone. It's Naama, the only kosher astrologer life coach in the world. It is finally, finally Motzei Shabbos, and I'm able to actually, like, think clearly. Alright. So, I am on tonight because I want to talk a little bit about my favorite subject, which, is always the same. Kosher astrology as it relates to the new moon cycle specifically. And I am totally, for sure, taking a page out of Javier Harif's, book, and while I wait for people to get in here, I am going to put my makeup on because I can. So, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to light some incense, clear my space. Mhm, mhm, what do I got? Mm, I don't know about you guys, I love Hem. They are a wonderful incense brand. They basically cornered the market with every Yoda in existence and every hippie woo-woo store. Uh, like, it's Hem and some other company. Like, it's always Hem. Um, so I'm going to breath and center. So you guys are getting a little bit of the BTS right now, a little bit of behind the scenes, because as you can tell, I have no makeup on at all. Um, like, that's just the nature of Shabbat. Like, I didn't beat my mug, and, uh, I'm gonna go wash my hands with soap. Hey, Hannah, what's up, babe? Don't forget to like and share this live, everyone. If I can't hit 18K, then it can't reach the people who need it. So in order to get my sponge ready, we never put on makeup without clean hands. So I'm gonna go put some soap on my hands. I'll be back. It's very late, but you had a very nice look. I'm very glad. And if you're hungry, there's some chicken soup downstairs in a pot. And there's also chocolate chip cookie. Okay. Mama Mazel is in the house. All right. Now I have clean hands. Oof. And I can get started. ASL. So I feel like I might be able to get ready with me and speak a little bit more freely about kosher astrology, and I'm hoping that I can. I've noticed that I don't necessarily say everything I wanna say when I'm live, um, and that's a little annoying to me, only because, like, I wanna be able to be more spiritual, be more free with myself, with, my ideas and my philosophy, and I've come to the understanding that I'm really not as spiritually open when I'm live as I would be. Um, so yeah, gonna do a little bit more of that. So let's have a convo. Number 1, if you have never met a kosher astrologer life coach before, congratulations, you have now. Most people have no idea who I am or what I do or why I do it, and there is for sure a method to madness. There are reasons that I do what I do. Um, and I wanna answer any questions that come up for people. Um, Also, hello to Instagram, hello Facebook. Oh, Veronica's watching, woo! My darling Pisces, this is for you. Um, so basically, start take these off. Um, first and foremost, there are a lot of astrologers in the world. No doubt. There are a ton of astrologers out there, and they all do different things. They all claim to see the future. They all claim that their method is the right method. They all claim that they know the truth, big T truth. Um, my advice to you is if you ever meet an astrologer that tells you they know the truth, big T truth, run the other way. And if you ever meet an astrologer who tells you, like, they can predict the future, ask them to show you accounts on their, like, "Hey, Moishe. Hey, Kate." Ask them to show you their bank accounts and their, like, bank statements because they're very likely full of shit. Because 'cause I've never heard of, lottery winners who also were studying astrology nonstop. Not a thing. And so we need to be realistic about hi, Goldie. We need to be realistic about what astrology's and I've talked about this a lot. I'm not gonna get into it a ton, uh, on here, but, for the sake of practicality, there are many astrologers out there in the world, and some of them practice, traditional pop astrology, tropical astrology, sidereal astrology, Vedic astrology, Egyptian astrology, Norse astrology, Aztec astrology. Oh my god, really? I just ran out of primer? No, I did not. Okay, good. Also, like, marshmallow, I love it. It's really good stuff. Um, anyway, there's all kinds of astrology out there, and the thing is, I have no qualms about, like, "You wanna go to an astrologer, go to an astrologer." Go, you know? There's lots of astrologers out there, and they have their own specialty, and they do their own thing, and more power to them. Mazel tov, enjoy. Go. Be free. I don't care, it doesn't matter to me. There's also, as you probably could guess where this is going, there are tons of life coaches out there. Um, specifically, there are tons of Jewish life coaches. Specifically, there are tons of Jewish, uh, Torah observant life coaches out there. Totally fine. Doesn't bother me. Um, you know, wonderful. Great. But are there any astrologers who are also life coaches? No. I have looked. I have tried to find them. They do not exist. They do not exist. Um, and it's neither here nor there. Like, I'm not out there, like, seek and ye shall find. Obviously, if you're trying to find something, you're gonna find it. Um, I've been trying to find kosher astrology life coaches, and there are some astrologers who coach you a little. There are some life coaches who really believe in astrology. That Venn diagram doesn't really overlap, except with me. So now I'm going to add a little bit of, lip because my lips are hella chapped. Oh my god, they're so chapped, holy shit. Winter is hell on my lips, and part of it's because I don't drink enough water. I know, don't sue me. Thank you for liking the live, Kate. Um, Kate, for those people who don't know, is one of the incredible, courageous humans who decided to sign up for my Moslem Mastery cohort, cohort Aleph, cohort number 1. It is the first group in history that is actually in class together to learn their kosher astrology and learn how to leverage it to achieve their life goals, designed by me. So, Kate is an incredible human, brilliant, insightful mind. I love her to pieces. She is here liking the party. Now, I have been practicing astrology going on 30 years. I started when I was 15, and it doesn't mean I knew what I was doing at 15. I just started when I was 15. And I've been reading privately for myself for years, for my family, for my friends. I also read tarot. I have read tarot for years and years and years. Um, and yet, somehow, despite the crazy journey that I was on, I never ended up using astrology or tarot in any sort of predictive way. 'Cause deep down inside, I knew, A, it's a bunch of bullshit. You cannot possibly use astrology to predict the future. And B thank you, Kate. And B, if you're trying to use tarot and astrology and other forms of divination to predict the future, it's just like the Back to the Future effect. As soon as you know if or I'm sorry, it's the Matrix effect. Once you know, destinies change. So, I learned very quickly that it was a moot point. By the way, for those people who are curious, I am using, Tarte Creaseless Corrector, the best shit for under my eyes, for the dark circles under my eyes. It actually looks like I am getting enough sleep. Ha ha. That's and finally, for my actual Punim, House Labs, Lady Gaga, I love you. If you ever watch one of my lives, please know I literally am obsessed with you. I have dreams about meeting you. I think you're fucking shit, and your foundation is the only thing that feels nice on my skin. Anyway, so this is, 70 pure neutral. So, I use kosher astrology in my life coaching practice, and when I give people astrological readings, I also implement my coaching strategies. I've been coaching people professionally for over 10 years. So don't forget to like and share the live, everyone. So much in advance. I want this information to get to the people who need it. So I didn't realize that part of my purpose in life was going to be becoming the first kosher astrologer life coach in the world. I had no like that was not on my bingo card for my life. But here I am. So I cross them together. Hi, Sleep. Hi, Sam. Welcome. I love all things Scotland. And when I coach people now, as a grown ass adult, having refined my work and refined my method and refining my systems, I've realized that if I don't leverage someone's astrology when I coach them, I'm really only giving them a fifth of my service. I'm giving them the fifth of my strength, the fifth of my ability. And I really do wanna make sure that I'm giving them what they deserve. Why is it I can't get anybody to watch live on Facebook or on Instagram, but I can get people on TikTok? I don't understand it. What am I doing wrong? I don't know. Hi, honey. Anyway, so that's just a little bit of an explanation. Yes, I use kosher astrology for everything. And no, in case I have not made it abundantly clear, I am not a rabbi. I am not a Rebbitzin. I don't play one on TikTok. I'm an average human being who's been practicing astrology in a kosher way for 30 years. I've been a certified licensed life coach for over 10, and I love what I do, and I'm not here pretending to be anything else other than that. So, in terms of this live tonight, besides me doing my makeup, because I thought that would be a lot of fun, um, I wanted to come on and talk to you guys about new moon. So, let's dive in. Excuse me. Uno momento, por flavor. Where are captions? Here we go. So here's a little bit of information about me in case you needed it. Again, I'm a clairvoyant, clairaudient, Torah observant, Balchuva Jew, licensed certified life coach and 30-year kosher astrologer. That's me. That's who I am. Now, let's talk for a little bit about new moon. If you're Jewish and you know it, raise your hand. If you're Jewish and you know it, raise your hand. If you're Jewish and you know it, raise your hand. We are all hated worldwide, but we don't let it impact our stride. If you're Jewish and you know it, raise your hand. I know that was a terrible rhyme. Now, we make up, like, what is it, like, 0.2% of the world's population, and yet they hate us because they can't be us. They hate us because they ain't us, I think is the current nomenclature. Anyway, that being said, Judaism has given the world a whole hell of a lot, not least of which is the Bible and the 10 Commandments, which have become the foundation for modern law. And no, by the way, the Greeks didn't actually invent democracy, they invented the republic. Judaism believed in freedom from slavery, which is the real source of democracy. You can't have a democratic society if you have slavery, and it was Judaism that led the way, freeing people from the concept of slavery. Yes, in ancient Torah times, we did have servitude, and there were strict laws governing it, and obviously, we have grown and evolved, and we don't operate that way anymore, and yet there is slavery in the world. So, all of that to say, in Judaism, we have always had astrology, and one of the big factors around astrology that has meant a whole hell of a lot to us is tracking our time by the moon. For those who are curious, I am using my kabuki brush, and I'm using Fairlight, chemicals just to dry out my eyes a little bit so that I can put on my eyeliner. Now, the Hebrew calendar centers itself on the moon, and most people are not aware. Most, if not all of our holidays fall on one of 2 moon cycles. Any guesses as to which day? Spoiler, one of them is new moon. What do you think the other one is? This isn't gonna work. I need a bit better lens. I can do this with this camera. Nope. Like, who has mirrors anymore? New and full. Points to Gryffindor. Well done, Kate. Bingo. So, in Judaism, every single one of our holidays, unless it marks a specific tragedy like Tisha B'Av, they all fall on full moon or new moon. That's it, those 2. Now, there's examples like Tisha B'Av when our temple was destroyed both times, etcetera, but for the most part, our holidays are new and full. That's not an accident. Poop! You guys, I'm used to using 2 hands when I do my liner. This is really, like, annoying. Okay, hold on. No, I I'm gonna do this off camera because it's gonna annoy me. You know it. Hold on. Mm, 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 mm. We'll see how successful I am here. I don't know about you, but, like, I'm the type of person, if I don't get my elbows placed just right when I'm doing my liquid liner, like, the whole thing goes to shit. Yeah, and of course, I'm on a chair with wheels. Am I the only one who, as soon as you start to do your liner, your eyes start watering and burning, even though you haven't touched anything yet? Your eyes are just like, "Ah, it's liquid liner, ah!" There we go. Yeah, literally, this is the best liquid liner I've ever used in my life. It won't come off for 3 days. It will look exactly like that unless I'm, like, bawling my eyes out. Hi, Ami, hi. Like, best liquid liner. It's called Insanely Black by Insanely Black Waterproof by Absolute New York. Got it at Home Goods or TJ Maxx. You know, like, they share a building. Considering that I didn't have a real mirror to do this, that's not bad. Mostly even. Whatever. Whatever's clever. Good enough for government work. Anyway, so here's the deal. In Judaism, you already figured it out. If you've paid attention to our lunar calendar at you know for a fact that new moon off gases from the product, probably. I would not be surprised. Hold on, I'm gonna use my cell phone holder for this part. So anyway, for us, new moon has been part of our identity for eons. Alright, that's mostly balanced. It'll have to do. Now, I don't claim to be a scientist, but I do like to use a few scientific facts when I talk about the moon. If you are still watching this live, which I would be shocked as hell if you are, except for maybe Kate, because for whatever reason, she actually likes me ranting on and on. Go ahead and type in the comments what your new moon has been like for the last 3 days. Good, bad, indifferent, what the energy's been like for you, et cetera, and what do you think the moon impacts? The moon connects how does the moon impact planet Earth? And I'm gonna do one line. Much better. Mm. Alright. Slept all 3 days. Yep. Mhm. 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 That part. That part. Wanting to curl up under the blanket and hide from the world. That part. Well. Mhm, mhm, mhm. Introspective, good, bad, and different. Fair. Fair, not judging. This is always where I get torn. Should I do the mascara first and then put the falsies? Should I put the falsies and then the mascara? I'm just gonna do what the drag queen. So for me, as has typically been the case, new moon is a time of retreat for me. Why? Because the moon affects human beings. It doesn't just affect the tides, y'all. It affects human beings. And this is not hyperbole. Anyone who is a farmer, a sailor, a teacher, a nurse, especially an ER nurse, a doctor, anyone who works in the healthcare industry, especially hospitals, will understand when I tell you that the moon affects human beings and affects planet Earth, and it's not just gravitational pull, it's not just that it affects the tide, okay? Never mind the fact that we are made of 80% salt water. That's our blood. Our blood is salt water. We are made of water. We are creatures of water. Hello. This is not an accident, okay? So, the moon, in God's perfection, was placed exactly where she was placed, exactly when she was placed, for the purposes of impacting us and giving us an ebb and flow to our lives. Again, if you don't believe me, ask a farmer who knows when to plant their seeds and when to sow and when to reap. Ask any ER doctor or nurse or orderly. Ask any teacher. Ask anyone who's ever worked in the mental health industry. They will tell you the moon impacts us completely. It's just that the problem is that most mainstream society and most people in mainstream society are scared shitless that if they admit this, what does it mean? It means that they're giving power to the fact that something is impacting them that they can't name, they can't control, they can't understand, which is a total misnomer because you can totally name it, you can totally understand it, and you can't really control it, but you can supersede some of it and you can override some of it. Whatever. Anyway, so yeah, the moon affects everything. And yes, Kate is correct, it affects our inner tide. I need tweezers to put my falsies on. Uno momento, pour flavor. And no. I do not like to do bronzer. I do not like to do contour. I don't like to do any of that shit. I'm a pale goth girl, and that's just who I am, and I'm happy with that. No bronzer for me. Maybe one day when I can afford to do, like, what do you call it? Like a I am small. Congratulate me, you guys. I've lost 50 pounds since March. Oh, hey, look, a mirror. Of course. Gonna do some cheeks. I know, seems really stupid to, like, put on some stuff to make my skin all one color and then add more color again, but whatever. Good enough for government work. Now, thank you, Kate. So here's what we're talking about. For those of you who are lurking in the lobby who understand that the moon affects everything, this is the part you're probably not being told. When we talk about new moon and we talk about, well, what's the point of new moon? What are we supposed to do? Especially you Jews out there, I find it very disingenuous that you guys are interested in saying the brachot for Rosh Chodesh or going out and doing Kiddush HaLevana, which we're all technically obligated to do, at least the men are, every single month in their best clothing. It's one of the coolest rituals in Judaism. I love that we are obligated to do it, and yet we're not leveraging the new moon for God's intended purpose. Like, I find that so disingenuous. Now, part of it's not their fault. They don't realize the purpose behind new moon, but once you start watching me, if you're not doing this from now on, who on you? By the way, duo last word. So we're gonna what? Okay. Ooh, that got a little excited. Oops, my bad. I meant to do that. I always end up putting way too much goddamn lash glue on. Whatever. It's fine. It's all fine. So here's the situation, especially to those of you who are Torah observant Jews or who are trying to get to a place where you're observing more Judaism in different ways. We need to know that we're leveraging the new moon and the dark moon for Rosh Chodesh in the best ways possible. So, wait till this goes. For example, did you know that during new moon slash dark moon, you're meant to actually look back at the previous month and go, "Oh, these are my wins, these are my losses, this is what went well, this is what went poorly." Yeah, that's actually the purpose behind it. It's not just to mark the month and go, "Oh, look, whoop-de-doo, the month is new." That's not the purpose behind it at all. I find that important to mention. I'm gonna do this without talking. I screw this up every damn time. Oh my god, you guys, why am I so bad at this? I've been doing this for, like, 2 decades. Why am I so bad at this? Ugh, whatever. Good enough for government work. And inevitably, the glue ends up in the corner of my eye, and my eyelids stick together. That's so embarrassing. Alright, whatever, it's fine. There we are. Oh, hey! It's like I have a filter on now. After action review, I love that. I know, Hannah, I'm not good at it yet. No, I know, I know. And I've got lash glue in my eye. Burns like a motherfucker. Ow, ow, ow. Ow, ow, ow. So, yes, after action review, or as some people, who are a little bit more morbid are gonna call it, a postmortem. When you look back at the month of Cheshvan, which we just finished with, Cheshvan, as in Mar Cheshvan, as in the month that we just ended, you need to look at the good and the bad. You need to look at it, go, "Okay, these were my wins, these were my losses, this is what went well, this is what went poorly. What part did I play in it?" Because no, we are not victims of our lives. We are active. We are active participants in our lives. We are not victims, and we're not using astrology to continue to victimize ourselves or tell a victim story. We're gonna look back at the month of Marheshvan, and we're gonna say to ourselves, "This is what went well, and this is what went poorly." And then we're actually going to take full accountability for what we did during Marheshvan. Okay, this went poorly, and here's my part that I played in it. Because we're grown-ups. Because you're all grown-ass women and grown-ass men who need to take accountability for your actions. So we're gonna look back, and we're going to look at Marheshvan, and we're going to look with basically 2 sets of eyes, looking backward, looking forward. We're gonna go, "Okay, where did I win? Where did I lose?" And if you know me at all, you know either you win or you learn. We don't win and lose, we win and learn. That's it. So I'm gonna look back on Marrakech and I'm gonna say, "Holy shit, what a learning experience it was. What an incredible life-altering experience." Hold on, let me try part 2 and tap, 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 tappity tap. Damn, first try. Okay, I can live with that. Give me a little fan here. Mhm. I lost the sticker. It's fine. Yes, I'm using stickers to fan my eyelashes. We listen and we don't judge. So last month, Mar Cheshvan, I don't even like to call it Mar Cheshvan. For me, it was just Cheshvan. It was a really lovely month. It was huge, huge learning experience for me. I really gained a lot. I learned a whole lot about who I am, what matters to me, what I value, what I don't value. I learned my levels of tolerance, my levels of patience, my levels of willingness, my levels of participation, um, what matters most to me, what doesn't. I learned a lot. So for me, it's a win because I learned, and to me, that's a win. I'm gonna add a little bit more mascara, this yarn, because that's how the queens taught me to do it. Ooh, that's a lot. There we are. Not too shabby. Now, were there some shitty things that happened during Cheshvan? Abso-fucking-lutely. Is that avoidable? Probably. Am I good at avoiding all the pitfalls? No. Do I look like Moshe Rabbeinu to you? No. The man was as close as you get to God, except for being Adam, and he still fucked shit up and hit the rock. So I consider myself lucky if I've accomplished anything. So I'm looking at Cheshvan looking backwards going, "Okay, this is where I won. These are my successes. I'm proud of you. I'm patting myself on the back. You did good," because I am being fully honest and transparent. I hosted a family for 8 weeks, 7 weeks that needed a place while they were looking for a home. I was able to create a space of joy and welcoming for those people. I was able to celebrate all of the honey during tea tray and then usher everyone into a state of greater relaxation because of Hashan. I was able to prove to myself that I can model the kindness and the chesed of Avraham Avinu, which is a huge deal for me. I represented that level of chesed and kindness to the people of my community, specifically the people of my shul, because when I tell people, like, I prayed to Hashem for years to have a house the size that I have. I have a four-story, five-bedroom mansion, ladies and gentlemen, and when I tell you that 5 years ago, I was very, very, very impoverished, and I prayed to God, "Please, please, please, one day give me a house that's enormous so that I can host people and give them safety and shelter from the harshness of the world." God delivered that shit. So, I was able to be in a position to do that, and people in my shul know that I host all the time. And I don't just host for, like, a Friday night dinner. I host families in crisis consistently, and I'm proud of that. And that was my Mar Cheshbon. I also am really psyched to say that I was able to get back to the gym, thank God. Taking all my moisturizer off. I was able to get back to the gym and start taking on functional, strength training, which is new for me. It's really, really hard, and I really love it. Um, and I haven't been able to do it consistently because I've been under stress. Um, we had some stressful experiences being hosts, dealing with my elderly 86-year-old Holocaust survivor father in Florida, stressors with my eldest son, like, life is stressful, like, that's the way it is. I believe in pressure, not stress, right? So, when it comes to the things I was going through, was I able to withstand all of it? No. Did I have some breakdowns? Yes. This is called the after action review. Thank you, Kate. This is what we go, "Hi, Stace, welcome." When we look back at new moon and we look doing the pros and cons, the good and the bad, one of the things Tony Robbins, likes to remind people is that we need to look at things as they are, not better than they are, not worse than they are, just as they are. And that way we can start impacting and having, oh, my sound is going in and out. What the hell, guys? Is my sound going in and out? This is so weird. No one else is using the internet. Hold on, I'm muting and coming back. And is this better? Very annoying. I think it's because 'cause I'm on the opposite side of the house as my internet connection. Is this better? Hope so. So as a life coach, I'm gonna tell you straight out, Tony is correct. We need to look at things as they are, not better than they are, not worse than they are, otherwise we cannot change them. Is anyone watching me on Instagram at all? No, not even a little. Such a bummer. I don't know why. So when I look at the past month on this Rosh Chodesh, on this new moon, I'm looking at what went well and what went poorly. Am I judging myself for it? Absolutely not. The minute we start judging ourselves unfavorably is the minute we lose. That'll do. At the end of the day, are there things that happened during Mar Cheshvan that I wish had not happened? Absolutely. But I'm an astrologer. I'm a clairvoyant or audience astrologer. I can't actually predict the future. If someone tells you they can. Now, I got my mug on, setting spray. I know this is tacky, but this is the best fan that I have. Not too bad. So, looking back on last month is the very first step to start connecting your life to the lunar cycle. That's the first thing that you need to know. When we talk about Rosh Chodesh, when we talk about building bridges and connections to the things in our lives that have helped us and harmed us, we can't do it if we don't look back, and we can't do it if we aren't measuring. So first of all, I only want you to look backwards to see how far you've come. Secondly, when you're measuring, I only want you to measure for the purposes of self-development. We're not looking backwards so that we can beat the shit out of ourselves. Yeah, I said that part. That being said, are there things I wish I could have done differently? Of course. Doesn't matter. It's over. So I can't do anything about it. Now, when we talk about oh, yay! I'm so excited. Hi, Ruth. Yes, I actually am streaming on YouTube as well. I stream on all 3 platforms at the same time. I stream on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube as well, 4 platforms. But the bottom line is, when we look at Cheshvan or next month, when we look at Kislev, I want us to be looking at the wins and losses or wins and learns. Oh, thank you for sharing the live flower power. I appreciate it. And I want us looking at it from an angle, from a Torah lens. Look at what Parshiyot we went through. Look at what challenges we personally went through. Try to start making those connections and go, okay, where could I have improved? Where can I gain knowledge and wisdom? Chochmah bina dat from the Parshiyot that we just went through. Where can I grow? Where can I improve? Because if we're not using this reflection for self-development, we are wasting our time. This new moon, specifically Rosh Chodesh Kislev during retrograde, which is all kinds of fun, which reminds me, in case you guys didn't clock it, um, Thursday was technically Rosh Chodesh. Friday, the moon shift well, depending on your time zone, um, moon shifted into Sag from Scorpio day Thursday. For some people, it was late, late, late Thursday into Friday, and so we entered into the new month of Kislev. Kislev is ruled by Kishet, the archer, which is the same sign that the moon was in. The moon moved herself into her own mazel of the archer. So the double archers on the day of Aleph Kislev, which I find to be beautiful and very apropos, which means we had like joy and expansion, times joy and expansion on the new moon. So for me, what this tells me is we entered a phase, an area of time. Jews are really good at monitoring pockets in time. We entered a lovely pocket in time where we were connecting to the concept of tzedek, the concept of expansion, the concept of growth, advancement, um, more, more, more. increase, increase, and that happened even though the moon was new, we were basically at, like, 1 to 3% illumination, it's still growing, and I find that to be very, like, astrological. I don't know if you clocked it or not, I did. Now, what are you supposed to do? Once you start committing to living your life in a connection and a cycle with the full moon, that's when you start noticing these connections, and you're gonna start paying attention to these facets. So, number 1, when you had new moon, if you've watched any of my lives before or any of my content before, you know, it's like full moon. New moon is actually 3 nights. 1% illumination waning, 0% illumination new, slash dark, and then 1% illumination wax. So the moon's kind of doing this. It's like parentheses, right? So when we talk about the new moon shifting, we're actually being given a 3-night window where we can look back for 1 night, center in present space 1 night, and then look forward 1 night. That is the beauty and the gift of what Hashem gives us every single month when the moon renews herself. So, I wanna think about in terms of, okay, Mar Cheshvan had some wins and losses. Okay, fine. I recognize that some of it was great, some of it was not. Now, the dark moon has officially passed. Dark moon is a lovely little void where we can pour all of our disappointment, our disconnection, our failed hopes, whatever, into this dark moon void, let it go, get rid of it, shed it, and then we can enter into the final night of new moon into a space where we're starting to plant seeds. So again, if you ooh, interesting, I love that, Mar/Ram. That's like a play on letters in English. I love that. That's fantastic. So now we're looking at new moon. New moon is always a time to plant seeds, always. It's always a time to plant seeds. It's always thank you, New York. Thank you for the rose. New moon is always a time to plant seeds. Again, this is my biggest kvetch when it comes to the Torah observant Jewish community. Like, we are so obsessed with saying Kiddush HaLevana, with making sure we do, the brachot around Rosh Chodesh and all of the sanctifications of the new moon, at shul the Shabbat before. Like, we're so obsessed with this part of it, but we're not leveraging this new moon. Hi, Juan, welcome. So how do you leverage the new moon? Well, first of all, you have to recognize that the moon influences our life, whether we intend for it or not. Secondly, you have to decide that you want to actually plant seeds for the new moon in a way that is nourishing, uplifting, supporting you and your connection to Hashem, your creator. If you're in it to win it and you don't care about being connected to your creator, number 1, every plan you have will eventually fail. Number 2, you won't be as successful as you would. These are my opinions, hence my channel. So, number 1, you have to decide you wanna actually be connected and move in cycles with the moon, and number 2, you have to recognize that the moon is an opportunity for us to plant seeds for the future, and you're gonna do it not just for yourself, but for your connection with Hashem. New moon planting seeds. What does it look like, feel like? What do we do typically? So oh, I just realized I haven't shared the live with my hubby. Uno momento, pour flavor. I gotta do that because 'cause I'm sure he's gonna wanna watch. Okay, there it is. Okay. Do, do, do. So, where was I? What does it look like to plant seeds for new moon? What does that look like? What does it look like, feel like? How does it manifest in our lives? So the first thing to know is that planting seeds for new moon is centered on the start of things. It doesn't mean you're going to reach the finish line in this cycle. Papa Model, I love that. Um, he's so not an astrology guy, Kate, like, it's not even funny. He's like the opposite of he's an astronomy guy. Okay, he used to work at NASA. Like, he thinks all of this is silly woo-woo nonsense, and he loves me for it. Um, but I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this. It's okay to plant seeds for something in moon knowing you're not gonna yes, I said that part out loud. Most of the big projects and ideals and dreams and goals and hopes and aspirations that we set for ourselves, we don't achieve them in the same cycle. That's not a thing. Not a thing. The reality is most of the time when we're seeking to achieve something, it is a long cycle. It takes days, weeks, months, even years. So, it's not going to be an instant thing. Most of the stuff in our life is not a light switch, it's a dimmer, it's a dial, it takes time. So, when we talk about planting seeds for new moon, we're talking about acknowledging that whatever you plant now will bloom when it's ready. And I'm actually gonna get a because I have a song that goes with it's a song that I wrote, and hi, Jeff. For those of you who are musically inclined, uh, it is a song about, God blessing you when we plant a seed, God blessing me when I plant seeds in my life, and simultaneously acknowledging I have no control over when these seeds spring. So, I'm going to see? See? Planting literal seeds. Planted them 2 months ago, they're sprouting now. That's amazing. Absolutely beautiful. Granted, Texas weather, I'm sure, is definitely helping because if I was to plant seeds right now, they would be dead. Um, but I'm also in Ohio. So, I'm gonna get my beverage, and I'm going to sing you a song about planting seeds for the future while acknowledging that we don't control when they sprout. Alright. And yes, even my cup has moons and stars on it because I'm obsessed. And also, I can see now. Alright. So, for those of you who are musically inclined like me, if you cannot connect to Hashem when you daven unless you're singing, this song might resonate. And I'm really not sure, like, how many likes did I get so far? I don't even uh, let me open the TikToks. Hmm. Oh, interesting. It's not letting me actually open my own live. That's funny. Go figure. Oh, 8,000. Not too shabby. I'll take it. I am excited. Come on, TikTok. Whatever. Doesn't matter. So the song is called Adonai Tzori, and, it is literally about, um, reaching out to Hashem when we know that we're planting seeds for our future and we're struggling to believe that they're going to come true. So it goes like this. I'll say the words, and then I will sing it for you. Adonai tzuri, shlach li ana en sof, emor ve'yeh. הצמח הצמח יפרח בזמנך, אמונתי אמונתי עליך תמיד. So, Adonai tzorich shlach li bracha. My God, my rock, send me a blessing. Ana en sof, answer me endless. Emo ve'iyeh. You speak and it is. You speak and it will be. Hatzemach yifrach bezmanecha. The sprout will bloom in your time. Emunati, emunati alecha tamid. I have faith in you. I have faith in you always and forever. Adonai tzuri shlach li bracha. Ana en sof emo ve'yeh. Hatzemach yifrach b'zmanecha. Emunati, emunati alecha tamid. Adonai tzuri shlach li bracha. Mana en sof emor הצמח יפרח בזמנך, אמונתי אמונתי עליך תמיד. אדוני צורי שפתי ברכה, אנא אין סוף אמור ואהיה. הצמח יפרח בזמנך, אמונתי אמונתי עליך תמיד. My God, I have faith and I ask you, send me a blessing. You speak and it is. I know the sprout that I plant will be blooming. Only in your time I have faith in you. Adonai tzuri shlach Ana en sof emor הצמח יפרח בזמנך, אמונתי אמונתי תמיד. So the reality is, when new moon comes, we are meant to we are meant to sprout, well, at the very least plant, but hopefully, God willing, sprout the goals, the dreams that we've set for ourselves. It doesn't always happen, obviously. It doesn't always happen, but it's definitely a factor, and knowing when to take a step forward, when to retreat, is part of living within the cycle of the moon. I've noticed that modernity is really stressful and difficult for people, and I think that part of it is because in modern society, we're expected to do the same thing day in and day out. Thank you. We're expected to consistently show up in our life the same way day in and day out. Now, number 1, that works much easier for men than women. Number 2, that worked a lot easier before we hit modernity, before we hit the 20th century. With the advent of automation, machines, modernity shifted our concept of reality where we're expected to be like an assembly line. We can thank Tucker Ford for it. To this day, I will still never, ever purchase a Ford vehicle ever again because he was a good friends with the mustache guy, and I'm not a fan of that. But Henry Ford was all about systematizing and automizing reality in his factories to produce the greatest and that methodology infiltrated all industries within 50 years. And that, to industrialization in England and industrialization in the US, led to a societal shift in expectation that we are meant to be like machines. We're meant to behave the same way every day, regardless of the input, regardless of the weather, regardless of our health, our well-being, our family circumstances. We're just expected to show up the same way every day. That is the stupidest shit I've ever heard of in my life. It also works really well as an expectation for men by men. When women are expected to stay home and manage the utter fucking chaos of parenthood and family and child rearing, it's very easy for a man to be the same person day in and day out because he's not carrying the load of consistency and chaos. But that's real life. Real life is inconsistency and chaos. Real life is having 3 kids and cycling through the same cold for 4 months. Real life is showing up differently depending on the weather and your health and your children's temperament. That's real life. When we start living by our mazel, when we start living by the moon, when we start living by the cycles of that's when we are able to start recognizing that there is a time to reap, there is a time to sow, there is a time for war, there is a time for peace. King David understood that. Shlomo HaMelech understood that. Solomon the king understood that. We are not meant to show up consistently, identically day in and day out. He doesn't show up consistently day in and day out the same way. Right? And we are meant to cycle, especially when it comes to interpersonal relationships and decision-making processes. So for those of you who commented earlier that you were exhausted during new moon, you were feeling introspective during new moon, all you wanted to hide under your blanket during new moon, me, that tracks. That is the nature of new moon. New moon is a time where the moon hides her face. So she is renewing herself. And anyone out there who has had a menstrual cycle understands we want to retreat sometimes. Sometimes all we want is to hide under a blanket for a day or 4, and that's just what it is. So, when you feel those energies shifting in new moon, there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. Hi, Lois. Welcome. So sometimes we show up as our strong, powerful selves. Again, if you're syncing yourself up to your mazel and to the cycles of the moon, you're doing Kiddush Levana. You're blessing the new moon. You're saying the tefillah that you're supposed to. You're a woman and you're actually keeping the holiday of Rosh Chodesh. That's where it begins. But the next step is to understand that during new moon, God gifted us with the holiday of rest, of not doing work, because we women in particular are extra sensitive to this lunar shift. Part of what we're meant to be doing. We're not meant to show up consistently day in and day out identical. We are not robots. We are not machines. So as you start connecting to your muscle, as you start connecting to the lunar cycle, you're gonna notice that every Rosh Chodesh, although each Rosh Chodesh is a little different, they each carry their own themes, obviously. But Rosh Chodesh in general has some consistent patterns to expect. One of the things you can expect when it comes to Rosh Chodesh is that it's going to make you feel, "Oh, sleepy." you're going to feel a little tired. You're going to feel a little, um, desirous of rest, desirous of, um, relaxation, retreat, withdrawal, softness, blankets, comforters, pillows, cups of tea, especially in the winter, things like right? So, you're gonna notice that when it comes to new moon, you're going to feel that desire to retreat and withdraw. You're going to notice that you're sleepier, that you have less physical energy. Oh, thank you, Hannah. Yes, Hannah in, audience reminded me making soup. I've been on a soup kick for weeks, but in particular, the last 3 days, I made the best chicken soup I've ever successfully accomplished. Like, it is by far the best version I've ever made. Don't know what the hell I did exactly, but I did something, and it's turned out perfectly. Um, so you're gonna notice new moon, you feel more tired, you have less energy, you want to retreat, you'll crave soft things, soft textures, soft fabrics, soft landing spaces, soft words, soft music, however that manifests for you, whether that's jazz or classical or EDM or, whatever, like, you're gonna crave soft. You're also going to crave softness in your relationships, and that's to be expected. That's part of it. So, you're also going to notice during Rosh Chodesh, you're not gonna want as much social interaction as you might want other times of the month. Again, women are gonna get this so much better than men because hey, Ben, welcome. Because we instinctively understand that there are times where we want social interaction and there's times where we but generally, Rosh Chodesh is a beautiful opportunity to retreat, to pull away from social interaction and renew your energy. And so in between Kiddush HaLevana, in between the brachot for new moon for Rosh Chodesh, you might feel more and more inclined as the months as you connect further to them, that you take a journal and you sit in bed with a blanket and a cup of tea and you start writing intentions for the next Rosh Chodesh. What dreams am I trying to manifest? What seeds do I want to plant? Those are truly the first step in using Rosh Chodesh for its God-given purpose. It's not simply to mark the shift of time. If only it was that easy. God gave us Rosh Chodesh for the purpose of becoming better versions of ourselves and connecting further to Hashem. So, marking those seeds that you wanna plant, deciding what path you wanna start carving, new moon Rosh Chodesh is the time to do it. Now, let's talk a little bit by the way, hi, Binky. Does anyone have questions about Rosh Chodesh in general that I can answer? I'm happy to answer. Again, not a rabbi, not a rebbitzin. I don't play one on TikTok. I'm just a Jew who reads a lot. I listen to Shiurim all the time. I love to learn, and I've been a licensed certified life coach for 10 years. I've been practicing kosher astrology for 30. Um, everything I do is through a Torah lens. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free to throw them in the chat. I'm gonna check my non-existent chat Facebook Live. I'm gonna check my non-existent chat in Instagram, and look at that, no one's watching. Surprise! Anyway, so are there better intentions to match with the month? Oh my god, Hannah, I love that question so much, I can't even tell you. Ah! She totally leapfrogged to the next section of our show. Love it. Ah, okay. Excuse me. Ah, because of course she did. So for those of you tuning in, um, are there better intentions to set at Rosh Chodesh depending on the month? Abso-freaking-lutely there are. You think that we have all these different months in the Hebrew calendar and they're all different for no reason? Of course not. We have these different month for a reason, and the reasons are significant. So, for example, when we talk about this month right now, the month of Kislev, excuse me, the month of Kislev in particular has very specific themes. Excuse me. Ha ha, it got me. Has very specific themes, and I wanna talk a little bit about the themes around Kislev so that we know what to do and we know what intentions to set. So, there's a section of intentions or a group of intentions that are always going to be de facto, always, always, always you can set these intentions and they will always be a winner, they will always have a payoff, always. So, write this down if you're not already. Excuse me. Intentions include, but are not limited to, the intention to become a better version of yourself, the intention to become a better Jew in whatever practice of Judaism you're currently on. Uh, as an ADHDer, you know, I have mitzvahs that I'm really good at and mitzvahs that I work on. So my intention setting would be to improve on my general Yiddishkeit and then on 1 or 2 of the specific mitzvot that I'm currently working to improve, which, by the way, I don't recommend you take on more than 1 mitzvah at a time. I recommend you only, only, only ever focus on 1 mitzvah that you can handle at a time. You get really good at that, move on to the next one. But anyway, so always striving to become the best version of yourself, excellent intention, you can always do that. Becoming a better version of yourself, becoming a better Jew, becoming a better partner, becoming a better parent, and becoming a better member of your community. I see nothing wrong with all 5 of these. You wanna set intentions? These are great intentions. Go for it. Right, Hannah? No shit. Now, that that to me is the table upon which I set my table of intentions, like, that's the table and the legs. Like, I always am striving to be a better person, to be a better Jew, to be a better mom, to be a better wife, to be a better, person in my community, in my life. Always, always, always. So, that's a default. You can always keep that list with you, like, as your list of intentions. If you have a prayer space, if you have, like, a prayer booth, a prayer table, a prayer, shelf, a prayer bookshelf, a place where you go to daven, halacha says it's actually best for a person to have a specific space in their home where they daven, and that's the space that's theirs. Some people will have it in their dining room, they'll have a stender in the corner, that's the little, um what is tender in English? I wanna say Alima. That's not English either. Um, Stender, it's like a, podium. Thank you. And podium Greek. Anyway, whatever, you get my point. Um, you know, having your hi skunk, having, like, a place where you're davening and you're consistently pouring your energy, have that pinned right there with those intentions. I want to become a better this, a better that, a better this, a better that. Do it. Now, for the month specifically, each month has its own theme. Can we set intentions for those themes? Abso-freaking-lutely. So here's some examples, and you're gonna get better and better at this. The more you do it, the more you read, the more intention you set. You know what I'm gonna say. I don't know where it is. I took it out of the office. You're gonna wanna leverage books like the Book of Our Heritage. Hi, Violet. Book of Our Heritage is a great example where it goes through every single month in the Hebrew calendar, and it talks about the themes around that month. There's also Seasons of Our Life, I believe, which is a much more, like, renewal reform book that talks about the Jewish holidays. It's another book you can lean into if you wanna learn the specifics around the different Hagim and each month and what its theme is. Now, that being said, let's talk about Kislev. In the chat, go ahead and comment what immediately pops up in your brain when we think of Kislev. Symbols, colors, phrases, um, anything and everything. What comes up for you when we think about Kislev? Okay, the Maccabees, of course. Every time we think of Kislev, we think of the Maccabees. Hi, Danica. Hi, Jeremy. Welcome. So we think of the Maccabees. What else do we think of when we think of Kislev? I obviously think of Keshet, the archer, Sagittarius, because that is the mazel. Yeah, I know, Hannah. I figured it out. I'm all over the place right now. Um, so we think of Keshet, we think of the archer, we think of Sagittarius, we think of the Maccabees. What else do we think of? We think of Kislev. Hanukkah. How do we spell Hanukkah? Have we decided, is it Chanukah? Is it Hanukkah? Is it 2 N's? Is it 2 K's? Is it 3 A's? Is it 2 H's or 3 H's? What other words do we know of that have 3 H's and 2 A's and 3 N's and 2 K's? I don't know. I don't know. But yes, Kislev, obviously, we're thinking about Hanukkah. What does Hanukkah make us think of? Ha Kislev makes us think of light. Specifically, it is the month that marks the darkest part of winter, the longest night. It's where we're shifting actually from the Archer, Keshet, into, uh, the Capricorn. Hi, my love. Floating head. I love you. Thank you. So, we are thinking of the Yeah, no, for real with the CH. When we talk about Keshet, it technically started until November, obviously. It begins technically on the 21st/22nd of the month of November, and then it shifts again into the Capricorn, into the mountain goat, Gadi, into December 21st, 22nd. So, we're thinking of winter solstice, we're thinking of cold, dark, retreat, withdrawal, and during that darkness, we happen to have a holiday that was a real life series of events that led to this marking of time for 8 days that is in the month of Kislev, the month of the Archer, Sagittarius, the month of light, and it's finding light in the darkness. And what's the difference between Jewish Mazel and Westernized and Easternized versions? Oh my god, Skunk, I love that question so much. Holy crap. Okay. So, I'm gonna put a pin in Kislev for a hot second, and I'm gonna so Skunk in TikTok, "Hi, Kay. Skunk just asked a really beautiful question. What's the difference between Jewish Mazel and Westernized, Easternized versions of" I'm assuming you mean of astrology. So, the foundational concepts of the movement of the planets and the houses in which they exist, the there you go. Thank you, floating head. I love you. He's so funny. So, the difference with them, the foundational concepts of the planet shifting in the skies are the same. Whether we're talking about Vedic astrology or Western pop astrology or the origination of Chaldean Babylonian astrology or what eventually became Greek and Roman astrology, all of them are tracking the same planets. Like that's all the same. Is it still hard to hear? Check, check, 1, 2. Okay. Is this better? Better? Not better? Okay, good. Okay. So the foundational principles of tracking these guys, all the same, all the same. This stuff here is all the same. Um, Once we start talking about classifying the planets, classifying the 12 houses, classifying the why behind our drive to study them, that's where Jewish Mazel becomes different. Specifically, I'll go back to the Chaldeans. They're the ones that are referenced in the Torah as the don't group. Don't do what they do. They were the original Babylonian astrologers. They were the ones that started the basic concepts of math, of trigonometry that eventually led to modern astronomy, right? So when we go back to the Chaldean version of astronomy and astrology, we're not allowed to do that kind at all for that reason, because it's that group, those people, the Babylonians, and they weren't good to my people. And so the Torah specifically says, "Do not do as they do." Period. Do not do. Secondly, um, as it was common in the Fertile Crescent, we had trade along what's known as the Silk Road across from China through, India into, Pakistan, into the Fertile Crescent, Iraq, Iran, the Middle East, into Israel, into Turkey, well, Lebanon, Syria, into Turkey, and then into, Greece and Rome. So, those ideas moved along the Silk Road, and Chaldean astrology was picked up and transferred and adapted and used by Egyptians, by the Assyrians, by the Sumerians, um, the Akkadians, and then eventually the Greeks and the Romans. And all of them had something in common, which was they were all polytheistic. Their polytheism lended itself very well to the study of astrology from the perspective of these guys are living gods. In Babylonian, Sumerian, Akkadian, Assyrian, Egyptian, Greek, Roman astrology, all of these are believed to be gods. Hi, Davy. And that's um, a fundamental belief structure that is entirely different from kosher astrology. In kosher astrology, we are operating through a Torah lens, and the Torah lens is telling us not only are these guys not gods, but they are stars, they are planets, they are rocks floating in space, put there on the 2nd day of creation by the creator. They are not gods. If anything, they are placed in their beautiful, specific fixed orbit on day 2 to track the seasons, the cycles, and they exist because Hashem allows them to exist, not because they're a living deity. And it says in the Zohar, actually, in I would quote this book in particular, but there are so many quotes in this book that I cite so frequently, I lose track of what page it's on. This book, Kosher Astrology by Rabbi Pincus, I still haven't gotten my royalties from plugging this book, but it quotes the Zohar frequently, stating that the Zohar, um, says that the Kochavei Lechet, the moving lights, planets that move in the sky, influence every single thing on Earth, everything, including the Torah scroll in the Eichal, in the Kadoshim, the Holy of Holies, in the sanctuary at the temple. Why does this matter? Because it's done under the premise of understanding that all of the planets in the sky pour their energy into the world, into Earth, onto Earth, into existence, because God gives them permission to do so and design them that way. So when we say Mazal, first of all, Mazal just means constellation. It just means stars, constellation. It doesn't mean luck. That's actually a nomenclature it's a colloquialism that's shifted over the last several thousand years of Jewish, culture. When we say mazel tov, it means a good constellation or a good sign. It doesn't actually mean good luck, but that's how we've used it. And so when we say we are learning our mazel, We do use it as a colloquialism to say we're learning our astrology, but we're doing it for the purpose of self-development. We're doing it to honor Hashem, our creator, as like, "Hey, dude, thanks so much for making these beautiful stars and creating this beautiful energetic field that helps me become the best version of myself." And we're doing it, to get a closer relationship with our creator, and we're never assuming that these guys are living planets, that are living gods, that we can worship them, that we can do magic or pray to them in any way, and the origination non-kosher astrology is that these are gods we can worship and bribe them into doing what we want. Now, your statement, I assumed we operated under a different model, but maybe I misunderstood. It's not that we operate under a different model at all. Um, everyone Hey! Oh my god. Hi, Woody. You can hear me? Oh my god. Hi. Hello. I'm so excited. Um, sorry, I'm someone is watching me on Instagram who I haven't spoken to in 11 billion years, and I'm super schmooper excited, and my brain is a little, like, overloaded. But anyway, when we talk about the kosher version of astrology, we are talking about this idea that what you're referencing to, Skunk, is, En Mazal Israel. En Mazal Israel is a specific dialogue between 2 chachamim, 2 rabbis in the Torah, specifically in the Talmud. 'Cause the Talmud is one giant ancient Reddit thread, and so the Talmud is having an argument between 2 rabbis, and I'm actually gonna find the quote because it's a very interesting conversation, and I'm going to try to cite it verbatim rather than guessing. Um, and of course, this thing will look like stereo instructions, so it's not going to be so easy to find. Hold on a second. I really need to talk to Rabbi Pincus and talk to him about how, like, he needs a better index. Hold on. 1 second. And I can quote the Ramchal as well, um, but I can quote the Zohar, but really, it's the line about "En Mazal Yisrael" that really gets people confused. Um, here we go. The Rabbah and Rav Chisda were both affected by astrology. So, Rav Chisda, 1 second, is the one who's quoted with "En Mazal Yisrael." Um, no, cat, you cannot come in right now. Oy. Ooh, fun quote from Kosher Astrology by Rabbi Pincus. Um, Rosh Chodesh and the celebration of the new moon, page 20. The first commandment given to the Jewish people as a nation, meaning after we got the commandments on Har Sinai. That quote is, "Hi, Splat. The first commandment given to the Jewish people as a nation was the mitzvah of sanctifying the moon and celebrating Rosh Chodesh, new moon, through the monthly witnessing of the new moon." From the book of Shemot, Yud Bet, chapter 12, verse 2, "This month shall be for you the beginning of the month," meaning the month that you're in. The new moon symbolizes renewal, a new beginning, and new possibilities. The new moon is taken very seriously in Judaism. Thousands of pages have been written about its meaning and power for the Jewish people. A few days after a new moon, we recite blessings sanctifying the new moon. This blessing is called Kiddush HaLevana, and it states, "The moon," he said, "that it should renew itself as a crown of splendor for those born from the womb, those who are destined to renew themselves like it." At the core of Rosh Chodesh is the concept that the new moon represents an opportunity for human beings to renew themselves just like the moon renews herself every month. This symbolism represented by Rosh Chodesh is also the very essence of astrology. Astrology assigns meaning and purpose to the movement of heavenly objects. In Hebrew, we say "Kochavei Lechet," literally the wandering lights. We study those movements to see what they symbolize for human beings. Rabbi Sacks, um, Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sacks of blessed memory, used to say that science wants to understand how, and religion seeks to understand. So that's part of what this is. That is exactly what we do with Rosh Chodesh. In other words, by celebrating and sanctifying the new moon, you are de facto practicing the essence of astrology. In fact, a little further in the prayer of Kiddush HaLevana, the sanctification of the moon, we explicitly say this when we repeat 3 times, Siman tov umazal tov yehiye lanu. May it, new moon, be a good sign and a good astrological alignment for us. Yes, we say that when we do Kiddush HaLevana. So the way that this ritual works, and yes, it is a Jewish moon ritual. We do this every month. Religious Jews do this every month. Men will wear their nice clothes, a suit and tie in some cases. They'll go outside, God willing, there's, no clouds. They can see the crescent of the moon, the waxing crescent. Remember, it's like a backward C, and they'll go outside when it's dark and the moon is in a crescent phase, and they'll stand there and they'll stare up at the moon. It specifically says in halacha, you must stare at her lovingly. And then they'll say this sanctification. They'll say specifically, to the moon he said that it should renew itself as a crown of splendor for those born from the womb, those who are destined to renew themselves like it. Siman tov u'mazel tov yihye lanu. Siman tov u'mazel tov yihye lanu. Siman tov u'mazel tov yihye lanu. May it be a good sign and a good astrological alignment for us. And they do that. They do that every single month for Kiddush HaLevana. They can do it up until the night before official full moon. And that's practicing astrology in your day-to-day life. And part of that is the understanding that God created the moon. The moon is not a deity. The moon is not a living, breathing God. There is only one master creator of all existence. In Judaism, we say Hashem. In other religions, they say other names. But we acknowledge that there is one creative force who created everything, and the rest is coming, basically. So when we talk about this understanding of the new moon and how Jewish mazel is different, we're operating from a fundamental different concept that these guys are just rocks. They don't have consciousness. They don't have sentience. There is only one creator that has sentience. And that creator put them into a beautiful fixed orbit that I think I've shared this with you guys before. You know, God put them into an orbit that is absolutely startlingly beautiful. I'm gonna try to find it actually. Um, and I'm going to try to share the screen. Here it is. How the solar system is really. Let me see if I can share tab. Here we are. We'll see if this
Warning,
works.
this product. This
Here
is
we
one of the most
go.
fascinating ideas in modern
This is
astronomy.
a
The
beautiful
solar system isn't a
example
flat, static
of what
disk,
we
but a
think
moving vortex,
universe.
a living spiral traveling within another spiral, the
Look at how
galaxy itself.
beautiful.
If the sun is in motion,
Look
then
at
the
how
planet's
beautiful
orbits aren't closed
he
circles.
created
They
the
turn into
moon.
helical trajectories,
Incredible.
like stretched springs in space.
Look at this.
Imagine you're holding a
Isn't this
rope wrapped around a
stunning?
stick. Now move that stick forward.
Look at how
What
they
happens
move.
to the rope? It forms a spiral, and that's exactly how the
So
solar system behaves. Each
right?
planet traces a different path, but they
Isn't it
all follow the
so
sun in a
gorgeous?
formation that looks like a luminous helix. Earth, for example, completes its yearly orbit,
Right?
but does
And
so
you
while moving through space along with the
think
sun.
this is what it
In
looks
other
like.
words,
It's not,
the planet
right?
never returns to exactly the same
Don't
spot.
really move
It
like
draws a new
it's
curve in the
really
vastness of the
beautiful
cosmos, moving forward
spiral
every
curving
second.
through space,
The solar system doesn't
right?
move in a straight line.
At
As it advances, it also oscillates up
57,000
and down relative to the galactic plane,
and
as
they
if it were
begin
surfing a
moving
giant wave of energy and stardust. This
13.
oscillation happens every 30 million years.
Isn't that stunning? Right? Hey, Easy, welcome. So when we talk about the planets moving, when we talk about the astrology shifting, we look at it big lens. and we understand that our mazel, our zodiac, our constellations were given to us by Hashem as a gift so that we can learn what our purpose in life is, our mission is, what our hishtadlus is, what our, tachlis is, lots of other words in Yiddish. And that's why our mazel operates differently. So, sorry, skunk, I kind of digressed for a second. There's a section that discusses En Mazal Yisrael, and what does it mean, and why is it there, and yada, yada, yada. And second, that's page 34. Okay. That's the Rambam's objections to astrology. Never cite Rambam if you're trying to get support for astrology. It's not gonna happen. He hated it. He thought everyone who practices astrology is a charlatan. Do not listen to them. So, second, Talmud, Sanhedrin. Here we go. Like I said, it's hard to find the source. Give me 1 second. Hi, Bnei Noach. 1 second. Here it is. Sorry, it took me a second. Page 103 for those of you who are following along with the book. It's the Talmud, the Gemara, Sefer Shabbat, 156a. Shabbos 156a, it was stated that Rabbi Hanina says, "The celestial sign of one's birth determines intelligence." I like to think that it means that the mazel of your birth determines your style of intelligence. There's kinetic intelligence, there's social intelligence, there's analytical intelligence, there's different types of intelligence, right? It says, "The celestial sign of um, one's birth determines wealth, and yesh mazal Yisrael." That's what Rabbi Hanina said. "The celestial signs hold sway over Israel, even over Israel. No one can escape the fate foretold by the celestial signs." Rabbi Yochanan says, "En mazal Yisrael." The celestial signs hold no sway over Israel. Rashi, in his analysis of the Talmud, Sifat Shabbat 156a, "En mazal Yisrael," the celestial signs hold no sway over Israel means through prayer and merit, one can change their astrological fate for good. So Rashi makes it really, really clear. When we look at um, the mazel from a Torah lens, prayer, tzedakah, and tshuva, returning to Hashem in true tshuva, that's what allows to override our mazel. Are we changing the snapshot of our natal chart from when we were born? No, of course not. That's the snapshot of where the planets were when you were born. But can you override your own mazel when you have negative aspects of your mazel? Like me, being an airhead, being a heavy, heavy, heavy air in my mazel, and like 50% of my placements are in air signs. Of course we can override them through tzedakah, tshuva, and tefillah. You are like Hannah, who's right above you in the chat, and you decide you're gonna be very fiery, can you override that impulsivity, inability to stay grounded? et cetera. Yes, it's tzedakah, tshuva, and tefillah. And I teach that actually in my Mazel and Mastery course because part of it is understanding hormones and mastery. So Ein Magali Yisrael is a misnomer, and it's frequently quoted wrong. It's not that we don't believe in astrology. It's not that we don't believe in all the planets that everyone else talks about, but it does mean we do not believe in fixed fate. We believe in decided destiny. And that means if you know that you have a ton of earth in your chart, for example, and you're a very grounded, stable, consistent person, but you have a hard time coming up with ideas or communicating your thoughts. Can you override it? Of course you can. All you have to do is give some tzedakah in the merit of Rivka Imenu, the Imma in the Mazel, the Mama Mazel system, who gives blessings of air, intelligence, communication, expression, ideas, and analytical thinking, etc. You give tzedakah in the merit of Rivka. You donate maybe to the Jewish community of Hebron where she is buried. You, give tzedakah in any for anyone in the merit of Rivka Imenu. You pray to Hashem and say, "Listen, can you pour some of Rivka's insight, wisdom, and clarity on me? I would like to be more like Rivka Imenu. I want a little bit of clarity and insight. I mean, maybe not prophecy because we don't have prophecy anymore in Judaism, but some clarity, some insight, some analytical thinking, some applied wisdom, please, and thank you. And then gift in that merit. Also reading Rivka's Parsha, literally this week's Parsha, Chaya Sarah, and this week's Parsha, Parsha Toldot, talks all about Rivka having analysis, expression, nevuah, prophecy, communication, comprehension, and being able to steer her son in the best way possible to get him the blessing that he needed because she had that understanding because she had it, right? So, reading the Parshiyot, giving tzedakah, coming back to Hashem in true tshuva, these are all ways that we can override our mazel, and I teach that in the Mazel and Mastery course. And also just when you book a mazel reading with me, I tell you, like, "This is what I'm seeing in your chart. You may lean really heavily into this and this and this. Don't like that about you. You can modify that by doing this and this instead." That's where the life coaching part comes in. So, that's part of why our mazel is for example, in ancient Greece, they believed, like, you're doomed. That's it. When you see whatever your chart's looking like when you were born, that's it. You're screwed. We don't believe that, not even remotely. We believe in free will, period. So, you know, when we have people who are, um, looking at their mazel, I tell them all the time, like, "You have the free will to take this information in whatever direction you take it." That's what people used to come to Avram Avinu for. He was the first astrologer. Kings and important people would come to him for advice because he understood the stars. He wasn't telling them the future, he was telling them who they were and how they could mitigate their negative behaviors, their negative aspects of their novel, and that's what I do. So, hi, Boo. Back to new moon. Again, to quote Rabbi Pincus, "When you acknowledge new moon, when you recognize the new moon, Rosh Chodesh, you shall you say your brachot, you have a Rosh Chodesh holiday, like, if you're a woman, and you set your new moon intention, you are leveraging Rosh Chodesh for its real intended purpose, and you're practicing kosher astrology. That's what I wanted to share with all of you is when you realize the real gift that Hashem is giving us by giving us Rosh Chodesh, you're never gonna see it this way again. And you're gonna see it as a missed opportunity. Every time you don't set an intention for the month, every time you don't plan out the way that you want the month to go, every time you miss that boat, you're gonna feel like you missed that boat. We miss 100% of the thoughts we don't take, and we cannot change what we don't acknowledge. We don't see it, we can't acknowledge it. We have to shine a light on it. Now, obviously, that's ironic because new moon means it's dark, but you know what I'm talking about. We need to shine a light on the power of intention setting, both as Jews and as human beings in general. We cannot change what we don't acknowledge. So my advice is this Rosh Chodesh, since we're now just barely in our crescent, I believe we are currently at here, what percentage are we at right now? 1 second. See, my widget shows me my crescent, but it's not showing me the full percentage. No memento, pour flavor. Moon, moon, you moon. Weird. That's weird. Where's my moon? Moon, moon, moon. Waxing crescent. Well, that doesn't tell me 7.3% illumination. So right now, we are only at 7.3% illumination, which means we are really in the heart of Rosh Hashanah new moon. It's a really fertile time, pun intended, to plant these seeds of intention. So and yes, tzedakah, it has amazing, amazing powers. I can't tell you the number of times that I've davened for something immediately after tzedakah, and within 10 minutes, I get a phone call and it's done. It's just that powerful. So I'm gonna open it up to the chat if anyone would like to throw it out there. What are some intentions that we can set for Rosh Chodesh Kislev in particular to answer Hannah's question? 'Cause Hannah was asking, are there any specific intentions that we can set for a specific month? Yes, there's the group of, I wanna be a better person, a better mom, a better partner, a better member of my community. And then there's the month-specific intentions, maybe moving into the book of our heritage or, seasons of our lives, etcetera. What does Kislev tell us, and how can we set intentions for ourselves? So, what app is that? It's literally called Moon. It's an iPhone app. I don't know if it's on the Apple Store. I don't know if it's on Android, but, Kislev. Hi, Shaul. Kislev, again, is there a way to honor the level of illumination when we were Of course there is, Violet. Oh my god, what a great question. Yeah, so you've just gone, like, literally, like, 10 steps ahead of where I was planning to go with this week, but I love you for it. Okay, so I'm gonna use my own chart as an example, because I'm not gonna throw somebody else's chart under the bus, that's just stupid. Um, but let me grab my chart. First of all, the level of illumination when you were born says a lot about you and your personality. Most people don't know this. This is a level of nuance that most people don't know. I know, isn't it such a great thought, Hannah? I'm not even kidding. It's like, wow. No, 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 no. Do not apologize, darling. That was my love. I love. Love, love, love. So let me get my chart. Hmm. Mm, mhm, mm, mm. Ah. All right. So here's my chart. I'm gonna share my chart with you guys so that you can see what I'm talking about. And actually, I don't know that this version of the chart is actually going to show you what phase my moon was in. Um, but you know what? It doesn't hurt to see it anyway. So let me see if this comes through. There it is. Okay, beautiful. Um, 1 second. Let me just track the here. Hi, Holly, welcome. Okay, okay. So, I actually don't often, um, get this question, so I don't have this tool handy. But I'm going to use the website yourmoonphase.com in case those of you have never used it before. Hi, Maga, welcome. Um, there are many, many websites out there, by the way, that you can use to, calculate the phase of the moon. Um, I used to know this information by heart, and I don't anymore because, again, I don't typically get this deep into, the readings unless it's like a reading and, that kind of thing. But I wanna say, like, I was born in a Philip Spoon? Okay. So, I was born under Gibbous 3, phase 8. Okay. So, then my suspicion was wrong. Totally fine, not a big deal. So, I'm going to put the link in the chat for those who are interested. Right here, it's in my Restream chat, but it's also going to be here in the TikTok chat, yourmoonphase.com. So, is there a way the original question from Violet was, "Is there a way to honor the illumination of where it was when you were born?" Absolutely. So, phase 8 of the moon, for example, we're using 9. So, let me take my chart down really quick, and let me show you what this means. So, this is what it looks like. Waxing gibbous 3, the philosopher, purpose, analysis, and growth. It just it's a generalization. Excuse me. It's a generalization of what this phase of the moon means, and of course, they're trying to sell you swag, necklaces, bracelets, art, etcetera. However, each phase of the moon, uh waxing crescent, waxing gibbous, full, waning gibbous, waning crescent, and new each have different themes and have different personality types associated with. So you would go to Moon Phase Calculator and you would pull it up, you would take a look and see what it means and what it's all about, etcetera. So, and obviously they're trying to sell you swag, but that's the example of what you would do if you wanted to check your moon phase. So, what do you do? The first thing you do is you mark the date. So, I would recommend again, we are setting the intention to align ourselves with the lunar cycle. You're literally saying that out loud to Hashem. Hey, by the way, I love you. I want to talk real quick. I am setting the intention. I really want to connect more to you, and I feel like I can do that using the moon. So I'm gonna set the intention of connecting more to you through the moon. Thank you so much. Okay, bye. And like tell Hashem that. And yours is waxing crescent. Okay, great. See? Now you learned a thing. Now, the phases, oh man, my nose is all of a sudden running. Oh my god. Ah, all right. So um there's technically, 9 phases, well, 8. I mean, if you're specific. There's new, waxing crescent, first quarter, waxing gibbous, full waning gibbous, last quarter, waning crescent, and then it goes back to new again. You need to know what Hana, tell me more, like we didn't already know that about you, come on. But you're going to calendar, so You're gonna want to start getting apps to track the moon. You're gonna wanna get a mazel reading with me, link in bio. Please make sure to get that scheduled because I am trying to shove as many readings as possible into the month of Kislev as I can. Ask Hannah, ask Kate, like, they know what I'm talking about. I make people cry, okay? But, like, you're gonna wanna mark your calendar. When is my phase showing up month in, month out? So, for me, for example, I'm nowhere near my phase right now. My phase is not gonna be actually, let me pull my full calendar. I have it on my computer as well. I have moon calendars, y'all, like, literally everywhere across all of my devices. I have it on my phone, I have it on my iPad, on my computer, I have it on my watch, I have it everywhere. Okay, here's my the one I have on my iMac is called Lunar Phase Tracker, or I'm sorry, Lunar Position Tracker. And where did you go? I have 3 screens. I don't know what screen it's on. Where did you go? Oh, lunar phase tracker. ¿Dónde está? There you are. Ha! It was hiding behind my others. Okay. So, and again, there's like 10 million different apps to track your moon, like no big deal. But you're gonna wanna start marking when is your phase coming up. So, for example, today is the 22nd of November. It is, 7% 7% illumination waxing crescent, still technically in new moon phase. We're setting intentions, etcetera. I'm not gonna get to waxing gibbous until, between November 30th and December 3rd. So not for another 10 days. And unless you have it down to the minute, I would recommend a 3-day, 3-night phase. So let me share this screen to give you a better idea of how to mark the transition. Here's the transition. So here's an example of lunar phases. Okay. So as you can tell, I'm gonna try to highlight it. So we are here right now. See my little mouse? We are here on the 22nd, 7.3% illumination. 7 days later, we're gonna be at, um, past half, so the 28th of November is 50/50 illumination, or as Woody, who might still be watching on Instagram, would recognize, we would call it Philodox moon. I don't like calling it Philodox moon anymore because I actually know what Philodox means, and I think it's really stupid, but it's at 50/50. Um, but in a week, it'll be 50/50, and then a couple days after, that's when it's gonna hit waxing gibbous. Waxing gibbous basically means it's almost at full, right? It's not quite at full, but it's almost at full. Spoiler, if you know what date new moon was, which was in our case the 20th, Thursday, count 14 days, and that'll be full moon. Boom, done, easy. So in our case, it was the 20th to the 21st, Thursday, Friday. So full moon is going to be the 4th, 5th, and 6th because as those of you know who follow me, full moon is not a singular moment. New moon is not a singular moment. They come in phases, literally. It's just a phase. Like, I don't know how to say this any clearer. So, mark your date. So, for me, I would mark my calendar with November 30th, December 1st, December 2nd, even December 3rd, I would say. That's the waxing gibbous meat and potatoes. And in that time, I would set an intention of, like, on this night, I'm going to honor the renewal of my moon. And then, frankly, in my humble opinion, I would highly, highly recommend that you decide what that should look like for you. What do you want that to look like for you? So, do you want it to look like, lighting a candle and saying a bracha? Do you want it to look like, curling up in bed before you go to sleep that night and you journal and say a prayer and write a poem? You have to decide how you want to acknowledge that moon phase for you. I do like that website that I just showed you, the Your Moon Phase, because it tells you a little bit, like Hana, innocent, action, creativity, minus philosopher, active, and growth. So part of the ritualization that you can do, to acknowledge your moon phase each month is number 1, do the same damn thing each month on the same day at the same time. That's what makes ritual. Number 2, get closer. One of the things that makes ritual is choosing to get closer, to lean in. Lean in to the magic of your own power, to the magic of your connection to Hashem, to the magic of your connection to the gravitational pull of the moon. Lean in to the potential. Lean into what you've got. Hi, Bergen. Hi, welcome. So for me, for example, I would choose the, new moon, wax and gibbet. Let's just say it's December 1st, for example. Remember, Gregorian date does not matter. Lunar date and Gregorian date do not dance well. So it might be on December 1st in December, and then it might be on January 6th. Like, the Gregorian doesn't overlap well. But I would choose to mark it for myself in the calendar, and I would decide, I want to feel connected to and honor my lunarversary. Oh, I just made up a word, a lunarversary. What's your lunarversary? Mine is wax and gibbous, phase 3 or number 3. So then you're gonna honor that lunarversary each month with a special ritual to yourself. I've heard of people going out and buying themselves a white rose or a white daisy or a white flower or a special flower that's meaningful to you, or getting a little piece of candy and, like, gifting yourself, like, "Happy lunarversary," and honoring. Um, I'm gonna default to all the watery things because moon, water, etcetera, they play all the time. Hot baths, showers, go swimming, put your feet in the ocean, things like that. Also leaning into, dream journaling, lucid dreaming, tracking your cycle, etcetera. For waxing, it would be yesterday, today. Yes. So in your case, my darling, so technically, um, I wouldn't consider yesterday to be waxing crescent, like, it is, but barely. To me, it's still full, or it's still new. I would consider, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday to have been the new moon phase, n dying, dark, and then reborn. Um Hi, Ruby. I follow whole sign, not Placidus. So I would consider new moon to be, the Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. However, um, it's your anniversary. Do what makes you feel good. Also, this can be another side project and another rabbit hole that you fall down, and I know you're going to, so go ahead. But, for me, if it was me tracking my own anniversary, I would not actually yesterday, I would start I would do today, tomorrow, and Mahra time the day after. Yeah, see, I know you. I know you, woman. I know you. You're like, "Ooh, another rabbit hole." I mission. So, if I was marking a waxing crescent lunarversary like yours, I would mark today, tomorrow, and the day after. But you can go deeper in this with yourmoonphase.com and several others. I believe Astro Danced also has a section in the moon, exclusively that you can play in. I haven't played in it in a million years. I don't know. But see, now I'm thinking, like, maybe I need to make another class on just lunar syncing and lunarversaries and on and on and on and on. I have so many classes I'm gonna be building. Oh my Lanta, right? Um, but anyway, I hope that answers, what's Skunk's question? Violet's question. I hope it answers your question, Violet. Um, but again, it depends on you. And I cannot state this enough. Start small. Like 1% better is still better. Baby steps still count. Start small. Just decide you want to connect more to the moon. Then maybe in a few days, download a lunar tracker. Then in a few more days, make it a point to look out the window when there's no clouds and you can look out and see the moon. And then in a few days, maybe notice what phase the moon is in and the mazel that she's in, and notice if it has any impact on your mazel. Cross compare with your chart. If you've had to do your mazel, you know what I'm talking about. Maybe pull your transits and see if the moon in a particular mazel has an influence on you that day. Um, you know, go slow as you guys, we can't evolve all at once. Like, can't. That's not how humans operate. That's how the media portrays it. That is not true. The media, including social media, portrays growth and change in sound bites, in clips, in 15-second transitions. That's not real life. In real life, we grow through long ass processes. Case in point, back to Judaism. We did not become slaves in Egypt in 1 day or in 1 month or in 1 year. We were in bondage for 200 years, and we were not freed from Egypt in 1 day. We were released on 1 day. We were not freed in 1 day. It took a year of nisim, of miracles, of great and terrible wonders enacted by Hashem in order for us to be fully freed, and that freedom took days and days of walking through the desert. It took us 49 days from, Yud Daled Nisan, from the 14th of Nisan, to reach Har Sinai, to become the people of Israel. We were not freed from bondage, and we did not travel and achieve our freedom in our land in 1 day. It took us 40 years of travel. Every transition we go through is intentional. If you've ever look back on a time, have you ever experienced a major shift in your life that happened like that? Can we talk about trauma with a capital T? One of my most favorite authors who discusses intergenerational trauma as it relates to, police, criminal, um, the criminal justice system, Resmaa Menakem, it describes trauma as something that happens to you that is too much, too fast, or too soon. And there's primary trauma and secondary trauma where you're witnessing someone else's trauma occur. So, yeah, bingo. See, Hannah's got it. She understands. So our transitions, our growths, our evolutions must happen slowly. If it happens too fast, bam, we get hit in the head with big T trauma. Hi, Eden. Welcome, Madman. So when we learn, start following our mazel, when we learn to we learn to unlock our destiny, when we learn to start operating under the phases of the moon and under the shifts of the Kohelet, the stars, we're doing it slowly. Changes that happen slowly happen permanently. Because practice doesn't make perfect, practice makes permanent. This is the kosher astrologer life coach talking. So, if you wanna start operating by your mazel, AKA your kosher astrology operating under a Torah lens, a Bible honoring our creator, need to say out loud to the creator, "Hey, I want to do this slowly. I just wanna connect more to you. I wanna grow in my connection to you. I wanna become the best version of myself. Help me to slowly transition to become this new person." And start with downloading an app. Eventually, you go to my profile, you sign up for a Mazel reading, and I literally blow your mind and make you cry, and you thank me for it. I love my job. I love that people pay me to make them cry, and then they say thank you. I love that. I'm a knitter, I'm a crocheter. You can stay. It's alright, no one's perfect. I do know how to knit, I just choose not to. But yeah, that's what I would recommend for people who wanna start practicing a lunarversary, who wanna start operating by their mazel, or better yet, who want to start operating by their elemental balance, like I teach my students in Mazel Mastery. Um, that's really how it be all of these changes, they should please God, happen slowly, very slowly. I actually am getting something started. I kind of hinted at it a little bit during the last master class on Sunday. Um, night 6, holy shit, we're almost done, guys. I hinted at it, and I've been working on it actually a little bit at a time. Um, a calendar system helps track every kind of cycle that we're experiencing at once. Including our lunar cycle, including our menstrual cycle, including, you know, the Chagim and the Jewish calendar, including our regular life cycles and purple and pickup and other and whatever. I know, I know, I know, I know, I'm so excited. But, like, literally, it's gonna take me, like, 11 billion years. Like, I'm making it work. Like, I'm just in the designing phase right now. But, basically, I'm being super selfish about it. I need something that gives me a snapshot into what to expect. Hi, Rachel. Because I'm constantly checking, like, 30 different calendars, like, "Where's the moon right now? What are the transits right now? What mazel is it in? What's my menstrual cycle doing? What events do my kids have today? You know, what tarot card did I pull today?" Like, I have all of these cycles that I'm trying to track at the same time, and I just wanna be understand what kind of flavor I have coming for that day. And so, with God's help, one day I'll get it figured out. So anyway, I keep digressing, and I feel like it's probably intentional and has some sort of I'm gonna say it out loud now. Good Shabbos, honey. Shavua tov. Um, the bottom line, we talk about Rosh Chodesh Kislev and setting intentions for the month of Kislev. There's the basics. I wanna be a better person, be a better Jew, be a better mom, be a better spouse, be a better member of my community, my kahila. And then there's the monthly intention. And Hannah, I've tried to do this like 3 times. ADHD says, "What?" What are the intentions we can set for Kislev? I want to grow in my emunah, my faith. Kislev is the month where we got our temple back. Not just because the Maccabees fought for the temple. If you know the real story of Hanukkah, you know that it was a fight for the soul of Jews in our own land. The Maccabees weren't just fighting to kick the Greeks out of our temple and out of Jerusalem. They were fighting to reclaim Jewish identity and to turn the tide away from Jews assimilating into Greek culture. So, yes, during the month of Kislev, we actually rededicated our temple and we were able to the 25th of Kislev, we were able to start, um, pouring the oil and dedicating the temple, but it's much more symbolic than that. right? "Hey, paranoid, welcome." So, Rosh Chodesh intentions for Kislev can be rededicating ourselves to our faith. Faith is the belief in something without any evidence. I really don't have a faith issue because 'cause I've already died and gone home. I've already hung out with God. She's awesome. We have a great relationship. I don't have a faith issue. Sometimes I have a trust issue, which in Hebrew we call bitachon, because my human brain gets involved and, like, my human brain is like, "How is this possible?" Like, physics and science and logic and reason, and God's like, "Hold my beer." And sometimes I have issues. I'm a human. Faith issues, not so much. If you wanna set an intention for yourself, rededication of faith. What are some other Kislev themes? Kislev themes are setting the intention of finding light in the dark, or hell, better than that, being the light in the darkness. How can you be the light in someone else's darkness? How can you bring the spark of Hashem and illuminate darkness for others? By the way, spoiler, that's your son's Avraham Avinu blesses us with the Mama Mazel astrology system and shows us our sun sign is a bracha, a blessing of how we are meant to bring the spark of Hashem to the world. So setting the intention of the month of Kislev, I am going to be the spark of Hashem in the world in my way, in my flavor, in my sun mazel, in my style. Beautiful intention to set for the month of Kislev. I would highly recommend it. Another intention that we can set for the month is cleaning house. And it's not like in a Pesach cleaning way, like, I'm not saying, like, scrub your baseboards, but, like, we rededicated a temple during Kislev. We celebrate the 8 days of Hanukkah because we rededicated our temple. We had purged it of all of the influences of the nations, of the Greeks. We got kosher oil again. We were able to finally pour the oil and perform our 3 times a day ritual sacrifices again after years of not being allowed to. Um, so imagine, for those of you who maybe don't have this mindset, imagine that an invading army, the Visigoths, for example, invade Rome because they kind of did, and imagine that not only do they invade Rome, but they burn half the Vatican to the ground. And then that invading army says, "Hey guys, we're your best friends. You love us. We're here to make friends with you." And they're so attractive and so interesting that the people who live in Rome start dressing like them and talking like them and taking on their names and their language and naming their children Visigoth names. Like, imagine how ass backwards and stupid that seems to us now. Like, invaded Rome and destroyed half the Vatican and burned it to the ground, and you're, like, telling everyone in Rome, like, "You're not allowed to be Roman, you have to be Visigothian," and you're expecting all these people to just be like, "Yeah, cool, no problem. Great, I'm a Visigoth now." So one would think that the day that the teeny tiny little Vatican army, who, by the way, are badasses, are able to kick the Visigoths out of Rome is a big day. It's a holiday even. That's Hanukkah, except instead of the Vatican, it was our temple, and we cleaned it up, and we Hi נורית, hi. אני מדברת על חנוכה וכיסלב. Um, instead of the Vatican, it was our temple. Instead of the Visigoths, it was the Greeks. And we didn't just kick them out of Jerusalem, we kicked their culture out of our heads. "Hi, stinker. What you doing?" "Oh, what's he yelling about?" Come here. Come here, cutie girl. I got a cutie girl. She just came in. Come here, cutie. She has no clothes on and just a diaper. Just a diaper. Say hi. Hi. Hello. What are you doing? Where are your clothes? I know. Where's your dress? Where are your pants? Where are they? Anyway, look at her being all cute and silly. What are you doing? Can you please go put your dress back on? No. No. She said no. Oh my gosh. This is my chaos monkey. I love you. Love you. Where's your downstairs? Yeah. Can you go get him? Go get him, Booba. Go get him. Can you go get him? No. Okay. Then don't go get him. Do you want to put some makeup on? Yeah. Hey, I got a naked girl in here. I have no idea. Well, okay, but she's naked-ish.
That's been going on.
Why was Mattel screaming at you? Okay, fine. Here, go to Abba, please. Put some sort of clothing on you. I know she has to go to bed. Anyway, yes, darling. Oh, she's so mad. Anyway, it's my cue to probably get off live. What other things can we do to set intentions for Rosh Chodesh Kislev? We can rededicate ourselves to cleaning. What are the things that have infiltrated your home, your physical home, your headspace, your relationships? What things have infiltrated your life that are not only not serving you, are harming you passively or actively? What addictions are you in? What poor habits are harming you? Where do you need to clean house? That's an intention to set for this. Another intention we can set for Rosh Chodesh is, how can I be an example to the rest of the world? Not just by being a light in the darkness, but once the light is shown in the darkness, how can I be a role for others? That's an example. What are some other intentions? Come on, guys, give me some ideas. What are some other seeds we can plant for Rosh Chodesh Kislev, for the month of Kislev? Oh, Violet, oh my god, you win. You win at puns. You win at puns. Snaps to Violet. Also, I actually have food addiction, and that's a double punny funny for me. And no, you cannot quit cold turkey, because we literally need food to live. Ha, 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 ha. Funny, not funny. Um, by the way, managing food addiction is so much easier when you get off sugar, FYI. That was the last step for me before I got to my GLP-1s, my weight loss meds. I had done every other thing I could have possibly done according to my endocrinologist. I cut out soda, I cut out sugar, I cut unnecessary processed carbs, literally, like protein, produce, healthy carbs, healthy oils, and nothing was moving, right? But it saved my ass so much with food addiction to cut the sugar. Hi, Dee Dee, welcome. Okay, you guys have 5 minutes. Give me some more intentions we can set for Rosh Chodesh. What else can we do? What other seeds can we plant? Rededication, cleaning house, cleaning mental house, physical house, financial house, emotional house, relationship house, being a light unto the nations, being a light in the darkness, bringing the spark of Hashem to the world. What else can we do? Hi, Sir, thanks a lot. What else? What are some intentions we can set for Rosh Chodesh? Also, don't mind me Those are hella chapped, so I'm just putting those on. What other intentions can we set for Rosh Chodesh? Regulating the menstrual cycle, yes, ma'am. That first of all, to me, that's like an always goal. That is getting more and more synced up with your menstrual cycle is always a beautiful thing for many, many reasons. Each of us who have a menstrual cycle, we have the right to be in our menstrual cycle peace, in consistency, sorry, in space, consistency. Um, Dreaming, yes, rededicating ourselves to our dreams, both our dreams goals as well as our dreaming practice, the practice of tracking, journaling, and monitoring our dreams, lucid dreaming. That's another beautiful intention to set. Now use the chat, talk amongst yourselves. I gave you a topic. What is one intention you're setting for Kislev? Go, 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 go. What's one seed you're planting for Rosh Chodesh Kislev? I actually don't know what seeds I'm planting yet, other than working on my business, which I'm literally constantly doing. I will tell you what, I'm gonna leave this. The ball is in your court now. I love you all. I want you to think think about the new moon of Kislev. We are in 7% illumination crescent. We are right at the beginning stages. We have lots of time to start sowing those seeds. I invite you to take tonight, grab yourself a vision journal for my TikTok shop if you haven't already, or you can go to my website and grab one, namaste.com, and take a look at how you want the month of Kislev to go, knowing that it's gonna grow and grow and grow just like the moon. It's gonna peak, and then it'll go down, 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 and it'll wane. Knowing that we're not meant to show up consistently, identically, day in and day out. Knowing that we're meant to ebb and flow, wax and wane. What is one intention you can set for yourself during Rosh Chodesh Kislev, Sagittarius, the Archer, Keshet? And if you haven't already contacted me to get your full kosher astrology reading done, please, please, please do so. Link in bio, namaste.com/mama muscle, all one word. Please, hi Trinity, welcome. Please feel so welcome. Your Mazel reading done. Again, it includes a full hour live reading with me on Zoom, plus a 12-page report. Plus, you get a copy of the actual video recording with for your very own to keep, and that way you can track your own progress with your Mazel and your growth. I am so excited that you are all here. Thank you for joining me tonight. I loved having you here. I got to foreplay, which is amazing. Thank you so much, everyone. And I cannot wait to connect with you more. I am working really, really hard to stay consistent in some arenas, but I just gave a spiel about how that's not always possible. So who knows? Anyway, I hear a fetching kid, so I'm gonna go. You all are awesome. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for being here. Good night, everyone. Laila Tov. Shavua Tov.